In a world of gleaming spires and shadowed alleys, Elias Thorne, a scion of a once proud noble house, met his end not on a battlefield but in the sterile silence of his own study. Betrayed by those he called allies, poisoned by a trusted hand, he watched as his family's legacy crumbled, his lifeblood seeping onto the ornate rug. The faces of his betrayers, masked by false smiles and veiled contempt, were the last things his piercing silver eyes saw before darkness claimed him. He had fought tirelessly to restore his family's honor, only to be cut down at the precipice of failure. A searing injustice burned in his soul, a promise of retribution whispered on his dying breath, defying the finality of death itself. The pain was immense, but the betrayal was deeper. Yet death was not the end. Elias awoke with a gasp, not in the cold embrace of the afterlife, but in the familiar, childhood bed of his family's manor. His body was younger, unmarred by the weariness of his previous life, his piercing silver eyes wide with confusion. The faint sunlight streaming through the window was real, the scent of lavender from the garden was undeniable. This wasn't a dream, it was a miraculous, terrifying second chance. The memories of his past life, every betrayal, every scheme, every bitter defeat, were vividly intact. He had returned to the past, to a time before his family's ruin, before his own murder. The realization hit him like a physical blow. The initial shock gave way to a cold, calculated clarity. Elias Thorne, now with piercing silver eyes and sharp, dark brown hair, inhabiting his younger self's lean, athletic build, surveyed his surroundings. The Thorne family, though not yet bankrupt, was teetering on the brink, just as he remembered. The intricate web of political maneuvering and economic sabotage that would eventually lead to their downfall had already begun to tighten. His father, oblivious, continued to trust the wrong people, making the same mistakes. Elias knew he couldn't change everything instantly, but he could alter the critical junctures. He had to be subtle, strategic, and ruthless. Every memory was a weapon, every piece of foreknowledge a powerful advantage in this dangerous game he was forced to replay. His first move was unassuming, almost imperceptible. Elias Thorne, with his piercing silver eyes and sharp, dark brown hair, dressed in refined dark attire, discreetly approached his family's oldest and most loyal steward, Master Alara. Under the guise of a youthful fascination with finance, he subtly steered their investments away from a particular venture, a venture he knew from his past life would lead to a significant loss. He spoke with a maturity far beyond his years, offering insights that startled the old man. Elias' lean, athletic build might have been youthful, but his words carried the weight of experience. This small adjustment, seemingly insignificant, was the first ripple in a pond he intended to churn into a storm. He was playing a long game, and patience was his deadliest virtue. Grand ball at the Valerius estate provided Elias Thorne, now wearing refined dark attire that emphasized his lean, athletic build, an opportunity to observe. His piercing silver eyes scanned the opulent hall, settling on a familiar figure, Lady Seraphina Valerius. With her long, flowing golden hair styled in intricate braids and bright emerald eyes, she was a vision of striking elegance in her shimmering gown. In his past life, she had been a trusted confidant, a gentle friend who ultimately delivered the poison. Now, as she laughed gracefully with other nobles, Elias saw only the viper beneath the velvet. The memory of her betrayal was a cold blade to his heart, fueling his resolve. He had to play along, to smile back, to maintain the facade for now, but he wouldn't forget. Understanding that wealth was power, Elias Thorne, his piercing silver eyes alight with strategic thought, began to quietly amass resources. With his sharp, dark brown hair framing his thoughtful face and his lean, athletic build moving with newfound purpose, he used his foreknowledge of impending market shifts and undervalued assets to make shrewd investments. He visited obscure alchemist shops, not for potions, but for ancient texts containing forgotten schematics for defensive wards he knew would be crucial later. He even bartered for a rare enchanted dagger he remembered being instrumental in a critical skirmish. Each acquisition was a piece of the puzzle, a tool for the vengeance he was meticulously building. He was preparing for war, one coin and one artifact at a time. The heart of his family's ruin lay hidden in plain sight. Elias Thorne, his piercing silver eyes narrowed in concentration, spent countless hours poring over dusty ledgers and forgotten archives in the Thorne's seldom-used library. His sharp, dark brown hair was often disheveled from running his hands through it as he traced financial transactions and land deeds. His lean, athletic build was hunched over, revealing a fierce dedication. He uncovered discrepancies, falsified documents, and subtle manipulations that confirmed his suspicions. The Thorne family's economic woes weren't mere misfortune, but the result of a deliberate, long-term campaign of sabotage orchestrated by powerful, unseen hands. The scale of the conspiracy was vast, far beyond simple rivalry, extending its tendrils into every aspect of their declining fortune. As Elias Thorne, with his piercing silver eyes and sharp, dark brown hair, navigated the bustling marketplace, a heavy stone planter mysteriously dislodged from a balcony above, plummeting towards him. His lean, athletic build, now honed by latent battle instincts, reacted instantly, sidestepping with a practiced ease that belied his youth. The planter shattered mere inches from where he had stood. As he looked up, his gaze met that of a hooded figure quickly disappearing into the throng. It was too precise, too deliberate to be an accident. Someone was watching him, someone had noticed his deviation from the expected path. This wasn't just about money anymore, his life, once again, was directly in danger. The stakes had just been raised, confirming the perilous nature of his second chance. His investigation led him to Tobias, a greasy merchant known for his shady dealings and whispers of loyalty to a rival house. One moonless night, Elias Thorne, his piercing silver eyes like chips of ice, cornered the cowering man in a desolate alley. His lean, athletic build seemed to radiate menace, a stark contrast to his refined, dark attire. "Who gave you the order to falsify the ledgers, Tobias?" Elias' voice was low, devoid of emotion, tone that sent shivers down the merchant's spine. Tobias stammered, fear palpable in his sweat-beaded face. Elias knew the merchant was a small fish, but every fish led to a bigger one. He pressed harder, extracting names, dates, and locations, building his case, one terrified confession at a time. During a seemingly innocuous sparring session, Elias Thorne, with his sharp, dark brown hair damp with sweat and his lean, athletic build moving with effortless grace, revealed a skill his younger self had yet to acquire. His piercing silver eyes glowed faintly as he instinctively channeled raw arcane energy into his blade, deflecting an attack with a burst of shimmering force. The seasoned combat master he was training with paused, wide-eyed. Elias, feigning surprise, attributed it to a lucky surge. But he knew this was an ability he had meticulously cultivated in his past life, a talent he was now manifesting far earlier. It was a risk, revealing such power, but a calculated one. He needed to be stronger, faster, and more capable if he was to face the shadows lurking in the city. The annual winter solstice gala was where Elias Thorne, meticulously clad in his refined dark attire that complemented his lean, athletic build, came face to face with one of his primary tormentors, Lord Kalen Blackwood. The man possessed a stern, angular face, short-cropped black hair, and cold, calculating gray eyes. His broad shoulders and imposing stature were emphasized by his dark, heavy, noble attire. Elias offered a polite, yet guarded bow. Blackwood's smile didn't reach his eyes, a veiled threat in his casual pleasantries. Elias remembered the man's ruthless ambition, his role in orchestrating the final, devastating blow to the Thorns. The air between them crackled with unspoken tension, a silent promise of future conflict. Elias knew Blackwood was not to be underestimated, a viper cloaked in power. Elias Thorne, with his piercing silver eyes gleaming, began to subtly sow discord among the noble houses. He used hushed rumors, carefully leaked information, and engineered accidental discoveries to expose the minor hypocrisies and power plays of the Valerius and Blackwood factions. His sharp, dark brown hair was often slicked back as he attended social events, a picture of aristocratic cunning. His lean, athletic build moved with a predatory grace. While his enemies focused on each other, Elias worked in the shadows, strengthening his own position and undermining theirs. He was like a master puppeteer, pulling invisible strings, watching the various pawns move precisely as he intended. The seeds of mistrust began to blossom, weakening the alliance that had once crushed his family. Despite his unwavering resolve, moments of profound loneliness occasionally gripped Elias Thorne. Alone on his family manor's balcony overlooking the sprawling city bathed in moonlight, his piercing silver eyes held a profound sadness. His sharp, dark brown hair ruffled gently in the night breeze. His lean, athletic build felt strangely small in the vastness of his mission. He was an anomaly, a ghost living a second life, unable to confide in anyone about the burden of his memories. The weight of future betrayals, of the sacrifices he knew he had to make, pressed down on him. He missed his family as they were before their downfall, before he knew their inevitable fate. It was a heavy, solitary path he walked, fueled by vengeance, yet longing for genuine connection. With the Legionnaire subdued Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire and carrying a recurved bow, lowered her bow. She revealed her own story. Her village was destroyed by the Iron Legion, her family taken. She had been a lone wolf, striking at Legion targets when she could, seeking her own form of justice. Hale, a young man, approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, recognized a kindred spirit in her. They shared a common enemy and a similar past. A tentative alliance was formed, two solitary fighters now stronger together. Hale, a young man, approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, and Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light flexible forest green ranger's attire and carrying a recurved bow. Tracked a Legion supply convoy to a hidden research facility. Inside they found horrific evidence. not just stolen artifacts but grotesque half-formed creatures held in glowing cages, their bodies twisted by corrupted runes. The Legion wasn't just using crude runes, they were experimenting with forbidden dark magic, twisting life itself. This discovery sent a chill down Kale's spine, revealing a far more sinister purpose behind the Legion's actions than mere conquest. The implications were terrifying. Returning to the hidden sanctuary, Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, and Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire. And carrying a recurved bow, presented their grim findings to Elder Thorn, an ancient, wizened man, possibly in his 80s, with a long white beard, deep-set knowing brown eyes, a frail frame, wearing simple, earthy-toned robes and leaning on a gnarled wooden staff, recognized the patterns of forbidden runes. He revealed that these were remnants of a long-vanished cult, the Shadow Weavers, who sought to corrupt creation itself. The Iron Legion was merely a pawn, manipulated by this resurgent, ancient evil. The true enemy was far more insidious. Armed with this terrifying knowledge, Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, and Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire. And carrying a recurved bow, made a daring plan. They would infiltrate the main Iron Legion fortress, rumored to be the seat of Commander Valerius's power and potentially the nexus of the Shadow Weaver's influence. They needed to expose the truth and dismantle the operation from within. Elder Thorn, an ancient, wizened man, possibly in his 80s, with a long white beard, deep-set, knowing brown eyes, a frail frame, wearing simple, earthy-toned robes and leaning on a gnarled wooden staff, reluctantly agreed, providing Kale with a protective rune of immense power forged by his ancestors. The journey to the Iron Legion's central fortress was fraught with peril. Kale, a young man, approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, and Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire and carrying a recurved bow. Traversed treacherous mountains and desolate, war-torn plains, they encountered more mutated creatures, twisted by the Legion's dark experiments, their forms more monstrous and aggressive. Their combat skills were tested repeatedly, Kale's versatile rune weaving complementing Lyra's keen archery. Each encounter solidified their bond, forging them into an unstoppable duo, their trust in each other absolute amidst the growing darkness. They reached the outer defenses of the fortress, encountering a heavily armored Iron Legion commander, whose armor glowed with corrupted reddish runes. This commander wielded dark, unstable magic unlike anything Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, had seen. The commander's attacks were chaotic and powerful, pushing Kale to his limits. Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire, and carrying a recurved bow, struggled to find an opening, her arrows deflected by the commander's unstable aura. Kale realized this was a test of his true rune weaving against raw, corrupted power. Pushing past his struggle, Kale, a young man, approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, tapped into the deeper knowledge of the Heartwood box. He didn't just counter the corrupted runes, he began to unravel them, disrupting their chaotic flow with pure, balanced energy. The Iron Legion commander roared in fury as his power waned. Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire and carrying a recurved bow, seized the opportunity, incapacitating the now vulnerable commander. They extracted vital information, confirming Commander Valerius's direct involvement and the fortress's true purpose as a breeding ground for corrupted magic. The captured commander, under Kale's gentle but firm rune of truth, confessed the full extent of the conspiracy. Commander Valerius, a man in his late 40s, towering and muscular, with a scarred face, cold blue eyes, short-cropped silver hair, and clad in imposing, ornate black full-plate armor adorned with Red Legion insignia, wielding a massive two-handed greatsword, was not merely a pawn but a key figure, secretly pledging allegiance to the Shadow Weavers. He sought to harness the corrupted rune magic to achieve ultimate power, envisioning himself as a god. He was the one who personally orchestrated the massacre of Kale's family, knowing their true rune-weaving lineage was the greatest obstacle. The revelation ignited a cold, burning fury within Kale, his personal vendetta intertwined with the fate of the world. The path revealed Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, and Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s, with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire. And carrying a recurved bow, launched their full-scale infiltration of the main Iron Legion fortress. The sheer scale of the enemy forces was daunting. Legionnaires swarmed every rampart and corridor. Kale wove complex illusion runes, cloaking them from sight, while Lyra scouted ahead, neutralizing isolated patrols with silent arrows. They moved like shadows, driven by their shared purpose, knowing that one wrong move could mean the end of their mission and the world itself. The air inside hummed with oppressive, dark magic. As they neared Commander Valerius's personal chambers, Lyra, a nimble woman in her early 20s with fiery red hair tied back in a practical braid, bright green eyes, a lean and agile physique, wearing light, flexible forest green ranger's attire and carrying a recurved bow, created a massive diversion. She unleashed a volley of flaming arrows into the fortress's armory, triggering explosions that drew the bulk of the Legion's forces away. Go. She urged Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it. Kale nodded, his heart pounding, knowing this was his moment. He broke away, sprinting towards Valerius, leaving Lyra to face overwhelming odds, trusting her resilience and skill. Kale, a young man approximately 18-20 years old with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate, glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, burst into the central chamber. There, amidst dark altars and pulsating, corrupted rune circles, stood Commander Valerius, a man in his late 40s, towering and muscular, with a scarred face, cold blue eyes, short-cropped silver hair, and clad in imposing, ornate black full-plate armor adorned with Red Legion insignia, wielding a massive two-handed greatsword. Valerius turned, his cold eyes widening as he recognized Kale's face, a ghost from his past. "You, the Rune Weaver's well." Valerius snarled, a cruel grin spreading across his scarred face. "It seems I missed one." Kale's eyes blazed with controlled fury, his moment of reckoning finally here. The final confrontation began. Commander Valerius, a man in his late 40s, towering and muscular, with a scarred face, cold blue eyes, short-cropped silver hair, and clad in imposing, ornate black full-plate armor adorned with Red Legion insignia, wielding a massive two-handed greatsword, lunged, his greatsword wreathed in dark, volatile rune energy. Kale, a young man, approximately 18-20 years old, with sharp, determined gray eyes, messy dark brown hair often falling over his forehead, a lean but athletic build, wearing practical dark leather armor with intricate glowing silver rune patterns etched onto it, met him with a flurry of expertly woven runes, conjuring shields, summoning energy blades, and creating diversionary illusions. The chamber erupted in a maelstrom of clashing magic and steel. Valerius's brute force and corrupted runes were formidable, but Kale's true rune weaving, precise and adaptable, allowed him to parry, evade, and counter, slowly gaining the upper hand. He was fighting for more than just revenge, he was fighting for the soul of magic itself.